Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Jinx Logos. If you're looking to increase brand awareness, to outfit your sales team in quality golf shirts and button-downs, put your logo on giveaway items to clients and customers, Jinx Logos and Jimmy Andrews are who you need to call. I've done this kind of stuff for years with 2 television stations. I was the marketing director, do my own business now on this show. And let me tell you, I've never seen anyone that does a better job with better quality items at a lower price than Jinx Logos. And you've seen a couple of guys on the show today. It's kind of our Star Trek day. We've got everybody dressed in their uniforms. We got Mike wearing the logo. We got Jimmy wearing the logo. So Jinx Logos did both of those shirts. They could do great work for you too. Jinx Logos. All right. In this segment, I want to know which coach's arrival into the SEC had the biggest impact on UT's recent downturn in football. And the way we're going to phrase this is, if Tennessee could send the Terminator back in time to prevent one of these guys from landing in the SEC, who would it be? And before some literalist sends me an email, I'm not actually suggesting anyone go back in time and kill these people. You'd be surprised at some of the literal emails I get. Who would you jokingly send the Terminator after?
Can I take this one first?
Let's take a look at who the choices are first.
All right.
Chuck Cavaleris is over there. We have Mark Richt. We have Urban Meyer. Mark Richt arriving at Georgia. Urban Meyer arriving at Florida. Steve Spurrier arriving at South Carolina. And then Nick Saban arriving at LSU and / Alabama. Mike Strange, you want it? You got it.
We've already covered this in the first segment. It's Nick Saban.
You think it's Nick Saban?
He denied Tennessee. He gave Tennessee the biggest loss in history.
Okay.
In history.
Chuck, go ahead.
And then he's gone ahead and gone. If that wasn't enough, he's gone to Alabama.
I will totally disagree.
So there you go. The Terminator's going back for Nick Saban.
I will totally disagree.
All right, Bob.
You survive Steve Spurrier. Steve Spurrier gives way to Urban Meyer, so that to me is a continuation. I think it's Mark Richt. Because Mark Richt came in, he shut down the borders to Tennessee, going down there and grabbing all those guys from Georgia that they were just really loading up on. And Georgia really just wasn't competitive with Tennessee for a long, long time. So I think Alabama was going to come back at some point in time. I mean, they were hiring people like every other week. That one guy, who was it, Price? He didn't even hang around that long.
It was a week.
But I think Alabama would have came back. They're a premier program. I think it's Georgia's the one you had your hobnail boot on their throat, head, whatever. And I'm going to go Mark Richt.
I thought I was going to be the only one that threw out Mark Richt. So you and I are thinking alike today, which is dangerous for you. I think it's Mark Richt for the same reason Bob stated. You didn't go into Georgia like you used to. All of a sudden, you're not pulling Jamal Lewis and Deion Grant.
But you're pulling Jawan
But
James
you're not getting
and
everyone.
Justin Hunter and you're still getting players.
You're getting Derrick Rogers, yeah. But you're getting players, but you're not getting the free reign that you did. And the other thing you did, this was a duo in the SEC East for the entire 90s. In the 2000s, early 2000s, it became a trio. And then Tennessee dropped back out and South Carolina went in. But it went from being a 2-team race in the East to being a 3-team race when Mark Richt arrived. So I'm going Richt as well. We'll save you, Jimmy. Let's go to Chuck. You're at the board.
I'm going to go with Steve Spurrier. And I'll tell you why. I think he's got the longest tenure in the SEC. He's a Tennessee guy.
But here's the thing. We're going to the 2000s, the downturn. So okay. South Carolina.
But nobody has been able to stick a knife in Tennessee and do that like Steve Spurrier. And plus, as he pointed out last season, he's coached more games in Neyland Stadium than some Tennessee head coaches have.
Yeah, and the other thing is when Philip Fulmer had that losing season, that was Spurrier's first year back at South Carolina, wasn't it? And he came right over here and beat them on Peyton Manning night, if I recall. Is that correct? Remember that?
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the night they honored.
When I ask questions, answer. No, okay. What do you got?
And you're right. Tennessee survived him in Florida, but like I think I said on the show last week, South Carolina has become Tennessee. Tennessee has become South Carolina. So right now.
Well, and that's another one where the borders changed.
But I'm sticking with Nick Saban.
Lou Holtz helped close those borders as well. He just didn't have much success with them. Jimmy, who do you go with?
Nick Saban. I think it's Saban. We talked about what he did in that SEC championship game. As Mike pointed out, we talked about it was the biggest loss he had. He goes to Alabama. Tennessee hadn't been able to beat Alabama. Not only can't beat them, they can't even compete.
Be competitive.
Can't get within 30 points over it. It's like 31-31.
And he's buried them, even to the point where LSU's whining about the scheduling now because Alabama's got an easy game against Tennessee. I think it's Saban. I think he's been the biggest thorn in their side. Tennessee has gone to Georgia, and they've recruited some players from Georgia. No, they haven't recruited Jamal Lewis, but not many people did. They got Eric Berry. Of course, his dad played at Tennessee. But I think the biggest thorn in Tennessee's side has been Nick Saban. And if Alabama had hired Rich Rodriguez, talking about what if on this show,
Yeah.
Would that
much
have
different
fit?
would that have
Yeah.
looked? But I just think Saban has been so dominant against Tennessee. I think he's the guy.
Okay, very good. We once again covered all of the bases, which surprises me a little bit. We will talk changes in the Tennessee quarterback timeline when we come back. I think this one's going to be interesting. Come on back on the Sports Source.
You are watching East Tennessee's first and only year-round sports talk show on television.